The stars outside the viewport stretched like long ribbons of silver and blue. Commander Elias Reed leaned back in his chair on the bridge of the Vanguard Dawn, listening to the soft hum of the ship's engines. It had been a long journey through uncharted space, and his crew was eager to reach the border world of Terlia Prime, a world known for its peaceful diplomacy, yet completely alien in its ways. "Commander," said Lieutenant Mara, his second-in-command, "we're approaching orbit." Sensors indicate a population center below with no signs of aggression. Everything looks calm. Elias nodded. "Good, let's keep it that way. Remember, diplomacy first, weapons second." He stood, brushing imaginary dust from his uniform. There was a tension in the air, a mixture of excitement and nerves. First Contact had a way of doing that, even for a veteran like him. Sareth stood beside him, her posture perfect, her expression unreadable. She was tall for her species, with a lithe frame and skin that shimmered faintly under the lights. Her eyes, dark and reflective, seemed to look through him rather than at him. She was the chief linguist and cultural advisor, and Elias had relied on her many times during previous missions. As the ship descended, the communication channels lit up. The Terlians spoke in tones that were musical yet precise. Sareth translated with flawless accuracy. "They are welcoming," she said. "No signs of hostility. They are expecting you, Commander." Elias smiled, though his stomach felt tight. "Good, let's hope my human charm works." Sareth tilted her head. "Charm is subjective. I recommend focusing on clarity and intent." He chuckled. "Maybe I can mix both." The diplomatic chamber on Terlia Prime was unlike anything humans had built. Instead of walls, it was surrounded by light and shifting colors, soft but bright. The delegates from Terlia sat across from him, their forms elegant, almost ethereal. They observed him quietly, their movements precise and deliberate. Elias bowed slightly, the human gesture of respect. "I am Commander Elias Reed of the Vanguard Dawn. We come in peace and friendship." The lead delegate inclined her head, a subtle gesture of acknowledgement. Sareth whispered the translation. "Peace and friendship are valued," she said. "Your intent is noted." The initial part of the meeting went smoothly. The humans and Terlians exchanged pleasantries, discussed trade, technology, and shared knowledge. Elias noticed a subtle rigidity in their responses, a careful calculation in every word. Humor, he thought, might break the ice. Leaning slightly toward Sareth, he said in a quiet tone, "You know, Sareth, with how careful they are, you'd make a cute wife." The words left his mouth almost as a joke, half-formed, expecting only a quiet laugh or a shake of the head from her. But Sareth froze. Her eyes widened just slightly, a rare display of emotion for her species. The room grew silent, not one Terlian moved, even the translators hesitated, unsure how to process her reaction. "I accept," she whispered. Elias blinked. His mouth went dry. "Excuse me." The Terlians shifted subtly, their attention now fully on her. Sareth's voice was calm, but the weight of the words carried a meaning far beyond what he understood. She explained slowly, translating for him. "In my culture, the phrase you just used is interpreted as a formal proposal of lifelong bond. To accept it is to commit to a shared life, responsibility, and trust. It is not a joke. It is binding." Elias felt a cold sweat on the back of his neck. A joke, just a joke. And somehow, in a way he could not comprehend, it had become a serious declaration. The humans were silent. The Terlians observed, silent but not hostile, as if waiting to see what he would do next. The tension was electric. I didn't mean that," he said slowly, choosing words with care. "It was meant as a joke. I did not intend any formal commitment." Sareth's dark eyes softened just a fraction. "Intent is considered, but the words were exact. They must be respected. You may not have meant it, but in this context, your statement is now part of a formal understanding." Lieutenant Mara glanced at him, wide-eyed. "Commander, what do we do?" Elias exhaled. He had faced hostile aliens, natural disasters, and political crises across galaxies, but nothing had prepared him for this. "We handle it with respect. That's all we can do." The lead Terlian delegate spoke. Her voice was musical, but with authority. "Human Commander, your words have created a binding declaration. Our laws require acknowledgement. However, your honesty is noted. Your species' customs are now under review." Elias nodded, swallowing hard. "Understood, I will cooperate." As the meeting continued, he observed Sareth quietly. She returned to her usual calm, translating and guiding, but there was now a subtle shift in the room. The humans were more careful. The Terlians were still cautious, but curiosity glimmered in their eyes. Later in the private chamber aboard the Vanguard Dawn, Elias paced. Sareth followed him, her movements precise. "This is my fault, isn't it?" he asked. "It is partially your fault," she said evenly. "However, it is also a cultural misunderstanding. Both species bear responsibility for clarity." He sank into a chair. "I never thought a joke could cause this." Sareth's voice was gentle yet firm. "In my world, words carry weight. They shape trust and cooperation. Humor is not always recognized. You must learn to weigh your statements carefully." He laughed nervously. "And here I thought humans were complicated." Her lips curved in what might have been amusement, a small, fleeting smile. "Complexity is universal." Elias realized then that this was not just a diplomatic problem. It was a lesson. Humanity had entered a world of logic and tradition, and their casual ways were now under scrutiny. But he also noticed something remarkable. Sareth's people were not cruel. They were intelligent, fair, and patient. And in a strange way, the bond they expected might become a bridge instead of a trap. The night passed with both humans and Terlians reviewing customs, translating words, and preparing for the next day. Elias stayed awake, thinking about the unexpected situation. He reflected on human adaptability, their ability to learn, to apologize, to build bridges where misunderstandings occurred. He realized that maybe, just maybe, this was humanity's strength. By dawn, the tension had not entirely disappeared, but a plan had formed. Elias would meet the council, explain his intent honestly, and show respect for Sareth's culture. And perhaps in doing so, he would demonstrate what humans could offer: sincerity, courage, and a unique strength that came from their ability to grow from mistakes. As the Vanguard Dawn descended through Terlia's glowing atmosphere, Elias felt a mixture of fear and excitement. He had stumbled into something far bigger than a joke, but he also knew that humans had faced the impossible before, and somehow they always found a way to rise. The chamber doors opened, the council awaited, and Commander Elias Reed took a deep breath. The first step of a delicate, unpredictable, and entirely human journey had begun. The morning sunlight filtered through the translucent walls of the Terlian council chamber, painting the room in soft, shifting colors. Commander Elias Reed adjusted his uniform and tried to steady his nerves. Yesterday's incident, his careless joke and Sareth's surprising response, had left him uneasy. But there was no turning back. Today he would face the council. Sareth stood beside him, calm as always, her presence a steadying force. Elias found himself grateful for her guidance. She had explained the delicate customs of her people and the importance of words, but even with her advice, he felt the weight of responsibility pressing down. "You are prepared?" Sareth asked, her voice quiet but firm. "I think so," Elias replied, though his stomach twisted. "Ready as I'll ever be," Sareth nodded. "Honesty and respect will guide you. That is all your people can offer here. Do not underestimate its power." Elias took a deep breath. She was right. In this room, honesty might carry more weight than clever diplomacy or polished speech. The council chamber was vast, its walls alive with flowing colors that responded subtly to the moods of those inside. The Terlian delegates were seated in a circle, their forms elegant and precise. Their eyes were focused on him, and their silence amplified every heartbeat in the room. "Commander Reed," the lead delegate began, her voice like a soft melody yet commanding. "Yesterday, your statement to Sareth was unexpected. In our culture, such words are binding, yet you claim it was intended as a joke. Explain." Elias bowed slightly, careful to show respect without submission. "I admit my words were careless. I did not intend to bind anyone. In human culture, humor is often used to lighten situations. It was a mistake to use it here." The council listened, their expressions unreadable. Sareth translated his words for those delegates who might not fully grasp human nuance. There was a long pause, then the lead delegate spoke again. "Your species' intent differs from your words. Intent is considered, but the declaration remains serious. A binding proposal cannot be ignored, yet we sense your honesty. This is uncommon in those who err." Elias felt a flicker of hope. They recognized sincerity even if they did not fully understand humor. "I am willing to follow your guidance," he said. "I will learn your customs and act with respect. That is the only way I can correct this situation." A ripple passed through the council. Another delegate leaned forward. "This human shows humility and willingness to learn. Such traits are rare in your species." Sareth nodded slightly, her own expression betraying a hint of pride. He is adaptable, he is learning. That is more valuable than perfect knowledge. Elias breathed quietly. He could feel the council's curiosity. They were watching humans closely, intrigued by their combination of honesty, courage, and unpredictability. In their eyes, humans were unpredictable, yet capable of growth. After hours of discussion, the council reached a decision. They would allow a compromise. Elias would not be forced into the formal bond, but he and Sareth would be required to spend time together under cultural supervision, learning the traditions and expectations of Terlia. Only then could a final determination be made. Elias agreed immediately. It was not ideal, but it was better than being bound against his will. He understood that trust had to be earned, and this was an opportunity to build it. The first day of their cultural immersion began with lessons on Terlian history, language, and customs. Sareth guided Elias patiently, explaining everything in clear, simple terms. The Terlians survived centuries of cosmic storms and resource scarcity through discipline, cooperation, and understanding, she said. Every word carries weight, every gesture has meaning. Their society depends on precision. Elias tried to absorb the information, but it was overwhelming. His human instincts were to joke, to relax, to improvise, but here, every word mattered. He struggled to remember the correct forms of greeting, the proper way to sit, even the smallest gestures. By midday, he was exhausted. Sareth observed quietly, correcting him gently. "You are improving," she said, "but remember, patience and observation are your allies. Do not act hastily." Elias nodded. He realized that his usual approach, fast thinking and improvisation, would not work here. He had to slow down, learn carefully, and respect the rules of a society that valued precision above all else. As they walked through the city, Elias saw how different Terlia was from any human settlement. Buildings seemed alive, with walls that shimmered and responded to touch. Streets flowed with energy, but there was no chaos. Citizens moved with purpose, their expressions calm, their words deliberate. It was a society built on harmony, logic, and respect for order. Sareth explained the significance of each structure, each ritual, and each law. Elias listened intently. He began to understand that the bond he had accidentally suggested was not about romance, but about trust, cooperation, and shared responsibility. Days passed, and Elias and Sareth continued their lessons. They trained together in Terlian protocols, learned about governance, and explored the scientific advancements of the alien society. Despite the tension, Elias found himself admiring Sareth's dedication and intellect. She was not just a guide. She was a teacher, a strategist, and a thinker. He realized that her people's strength lay not only in their discipline, but also in their ability to value knowledge, precision, and cooperation above all else. One evening, after a long day of lessons, they sat in a quiet chamber overlooking the glowing city. Elias looked at Sareth, hesitant. "I have to admit, I misjudged your people. I thought we could joke our way through this. But everything here, it's precise, intentional, and meaningful. I respect that, and I respect you." Sareth's eyes softened slightly. "Respect is earned through understanding and action. You are beginning to show both. That is rare for a human." Elias chuckled lightly. "Rare, huh? I'll take that as a compliment." Her lips curved in the smallest of smiles. "It is meant as one." The moment passed, but a quiet bond was forming. Elias realized that despite the misunderstanding, he was learning something valuable. Humans could adapt, and in doing so, could gain the trust of even the most logical and disciplined species. Meanwhile, in the council chambers, other Terlians observed the human delegation. They were intrigued by Elias' honesty, his willingness to learn, and his ability to take responsibility for his mistake. Unlike some species that reacted with aggression or avoidance, humans showed adaptability and courage. A senior delegate whispered to another, "They are unlike any species we have encountered. Even when they err, they face consequences with honesty and determination. Perhaps this is why they survive in so many environments." The other delegate nodded. "Indeed. There is strength in their unpredictability, strength in their intent." Back with Elias and Sareth, the lessons continued. They explored Terlia's technology, including energy manipulation, transportation systems, and environmental control. Elias was amazed by the elegance and efficiency of it all. Every system was designed for sustainability, every device built with intention. He realized that humans, despite their imperfections, had something equally remarkable. the ability to learn, adapt, and innovate. Where Terlians relied on precision, humans relied on creativity. Where Terlians relied on order, humans relied on resilience. Together, he thought, the two species could achieve great things. One afternoon, during a particularly challenging exercise in cultural negotiation, Elias and Sareth faced a scenario where miscommunication could have serious consequences. "You must respond exactly as I instruct," Sareth said. "Deviation could cause offense or misunderstanding." Elias nodded, concentrating harder than ever. He repeated the phrases, followed the gestures, and observed her corrections. Step by step, he began to grasp the importance of patience and attention to detail. Sareth watched him quietly. "You are improving faster than expected. Humans often rely on instinct. Here you are learning to control it." Elias smiled. "And humans can surprise themselves sometimes. I never thought I'd find myself enjoying rules this much." Her lips twitched. "Enjoying may be an exaggeration. Tolerance, perhaps," he laughed softly. "I'll take tolerance as a victory." As the days turned into weeks, Elias' understanding deepened. He began to appreciate Terlia not just as a challenge, but as a perspective. He saw their commitment to cooperation, their respect for language and intent, and their ability to survive harsh realities through discipline. He realized that humans had something equally powerful: the courage to face mistakes, the intelligence to adapt, and the determination to build bridges. Sareth noticed the change in him. The bond they were forming, initially forced by misunderstanding, had grown into mutual respect and trust. While the official declaration remained unresolved, the human commander had proven himself capable of honoring the principles it represented: responsibility, honesty, and cooperation. Elias also began to notice subtle shifts in Sareth. She observed him closely, not with suspicion, but with curiosity. He was unpredictable, yes, but also sincere, and she found that human honesty carried a weight that even her precise culture respected. One evening, as they reviewed their progress with the council, the lead delegate spoke. "Commander Reed has shown remarkable adaptability. Though the initial statement was unfortunate, his actions have demonstrated respect, courage, and understanding. Perhaps humans are more capable than we assumed." Elias felt a surge of relief. Their decision would not be final yet, but he knew that he had taken the first steps toward building trust. Sareth looked at him, her eyes calm yet expressive. "You have proven that humans can learn, that intent matters, and that growth is possible. This is a victory, Commander." Elias nodded, smiling despite the exhaustion. "Then let's keep learning, one step at a time." As the sun set over Terlia, casting the city in glowing hues, Elias realized something profound. The misunderstanding that had caused chaos had also created an opportunity. Humans had shown resilience, humility, and the ability to build bridges where others might have destroyed them. And for the first time, he felt confident that humanity might not just survive among the stars, it could thrive. The day of the final council meeting arrived with a quiet intensity. Commander Elias Reed stood beside Sareth at the edge of the vast chamber, watching the Terlian delegates assemble. Their eyes, dark and thoughtful, followed every movement with careful attention. For weeks, Elias had learned, adapted, and endured a cultural trial unlike any other. Now it was time to show the full measure of what humanity could offer. Sareth's presence was steady and reassuring. She had guided him through protocols, translations, and lessons in patience. The bond they had formed, initially the result of a careless joke, had matured into mutual respect and trust, a bridge between two very different species. "Commander," Sareth said softly, "remember, clarity, honesty, and sincerity, these are your greatest tools. Speak for your people, not just yourself." Elias nodded. He had spent hours rehearsing his words, thinking through every possible outcome. But he also knew that improvisation, when guided by truth, was humanity's greatest strength. As the council gathered, the lead delegate, a tall figure with luminous skin, spoke. "Commander Reed, your time in our society has been unusual. You have made errors, yet you have demonstrated persistence, honesty, and willingness to learn. Today, you must explain your intent and your understanding of our customs. Speak freely, but with respect." Elias stepped forward. His voice echoed clearly in the chamber, filled with the calm confidence of someone who had faced countless crises. "Esteemed delegates," he began, "I will not deny my mistake. I used words carelessly and they caused confusion. In my culture, humor is common and intentions are often understood through context. But I understand now that in your culture, words carry a weight that must never be ignored. I am here to accept responsibility for my actions and to honor the values of Terlia as I have been taught by Sareth. There was a pause. The council members exchanged glances. Elias continued, his voice steady. Humanity is not perfect. We make mistakes, but we also learn. We adapt. We take responsibility. We build bridges where misunderstandings occur, and we try to find solutions that respect all parties involved. That is the strength I offer, not only as an individual, but as a representative of my species. Sareth translated every word with precision, ensuring that every delegate understood the depth of his sincerity. As the words settled into the room, Elias felt the tension ease slightly. The Terlians were not cold, they were logical. They weighed every word, and now they were considering his. The lead delegate spoke again, her voice measured. Commander Reed, your words show understanding, humility, and foresight. Yet the matter of your bond with Sareth remains. Our customs demand respect for the declaration. How do you propose to honor this, given your intent was not formal? Elias glanced at Sareth, who met his gaze calmly. I propose a new understanding, he said. A bond based on mutual trust, cooperation, and choice, not obligation. We will work together to achieve shared goals. The bond will be honored through action, not mere words. Sareth and I will demonstrate the principles of trust, responsibility, and collaboration in everything we do, and let that serve as proof of humanity's intent. The council remained silent. Elias could feel the weight of their consideration. Finally, the lead delegate spoke. Your proposal is unconventional, yet it reflects insight and sincerity. Sareth has guided you and her judgment is sound. We accept this new interpretation. The bond is symbolic, grounded in action, choice, and trust, rather than mere declaration. Humanity is recognized for its honesty and adaptability. Relief washed over Elias. The council had accepted a compromise that respected both cultures. Humanity had not only survived a misunderstanding, they had earned respect. After the meeting, Sareth and Elias walked through the streets of Terlia's capital. The city glowed with soft lights, its structures responding subtly to movement and sound. Citizens paused to observe them, their curiosity tempered by respect. You did well today, Sareth said. You spoke truthfully and your sincerity was clear. You have demonstrated the qualities of your people, courage, intelligence, and adaptability. Elias smiled, though he was exhausted. I couldn't have done it without you. You guided me, corrected me, and helped me understand a world completely different from my own. I'm grateful. Sareth's expression softened. Gratitude is noted. You have learned quickly, Commander, and yet there is more to learn. Our cultures are different, but cooperation is possible. That is the true victory. Elias considered this. For weeks, he had feared offending, failing, or creating an interstellar crisis. But through patience, learning, and respect, he had discovered something more profound. Humans could thrive among the stars not because of superior weapons or technology, but because of the ability to adapt, to grow, and to build trust across cultures. In the following weeks, Elias and Sareth collaborated on several projects with the Terlians. They worked on energy distribution systems, environmental controls, and scientific research. Each project was a test, not only of human intelligence, but also of their ability to understand alien logic and precision. Elias noticed subtle shifts in perception among the Terlians. What had once been curiosity tinged with suspicion became admiration. His mistakes had taught the Terlians something about humans, that their resilience and honesty could bridge even the widest gaps. One day, while observing a particularly delicate energy calibration, Sareth paused. Your species is persistent. Even when facing failure, you continue. That quality is remarkable. Elias laughed softly. We call it stubbornness, but yes, it can be useful. Sareth allowed herself a small smile. Persistence can be admirable, especially when paired with humility and respect. Your species has shown all three. That is rare. As they continued their work, a subtle bond grew between them, not romantic in the sense humans often understood, but a deep connection based on trust, respect, and shared purpose. The initial misunderstanding that had caused tension was now a bridge between species, demonstrating humanity's ability to turn mistakes into opportunities. Meanwhile, back at the council, discussions turned to the broader implications of human adaptability. They are unpredictable, a senior Terlian remarked. Yet they learn quickly. They face consequences with honesty and act to correct them. Perhaps humans have qualities we have underestimated. Another delegate added, their creativity and resilience complement our precision. Cooperation with them could yield results we have never imagined. The council began to view humans not as chaotic or reckless, but as a species capable of learning, adapting, and thriving in even the most unfamiliar environments. Humanity's ability to transform mistakes into bridges of trust became a point of admiration rather than concern. Months passed. The mission on Terlia Prime continued with increasing success. Elias and Sareth presented joint solutions to the Council, combining human ingenuity with Terlian logic. Each achievement strengthened the symbolic bond between them, and by extension, the bond between their species. Through this process, Elias reflected on humanity's unique qualities. Humans might not always be precise, disciplined, or logical in the same way as other species. Yet their willingness to learn, take responsibility, and act with integrity allowed them to achieve respect and influence beyond what their technology alone could offer. Sareth, too, observed Elias and humans with growing admiration. Their honesty, courage, and adaptability had won her trust and that of her people. She realized that intent, when guided by action and integrity, could speak louder than tradition alone. The final day of the mission approached. The council gathered one last time to acknowledge the progress made. "Commander Reed," the lead delegate said, "your actions have demonstrated that humans are capable of remarkable growth and understanding. Through cooperation, humility, and intelligence, you have honored our customs and earned respect. Today, humanity is recognized as a species with potential for partnership and trust." Elias bowed deeply. "On behalf of humanity, I thank you. We have learned much, and we hope this is only the beginning of lasting friendship and collaboration." Sareth stood beside him, her expression calm but proud. "Your species has shown adaptability, honesty, and courage. That is worth more than any declaration. That is why humans may thrive among the stars." The chamber erupted in quiet approval. It was not cheering as humans knew it, but the acknowledgement carried weight far beyond sound. Respect had been earned, bridges had been built, and the foundation for interstellar cooperation had been firmly established. Elias looked at Sareth, and for the first time he understood the true meaning of the bond they shared. It was not about words, promises, or obligation. It was about trust, respect, and shared purpose, the qualities that allowed two very different species to work together and create something greater than either could achieve alone. As the Vanguard Dawn prepared to leave Terlia Prime, Elias reflected on the journey. What had begun as a careless joke had grown into a lesson in humility, patience, and human potential. The galaxy was vast and filled with challenges, but humanity had proven it could not only survive but thrive through honesty, intelligence, and courage. Sareth joined him on the bridge as the ship lifted from the planet. "This is only the beginning," she said. "Many worlds await, many challenges lie ahead, but humanity has shown it is capable of rising to meet them." Elias smiled. "Then we'll keep learning, keep adapting. Keep proving that humans can thrive anywhere. Together we can face whatever comes next." The stars stretched endlessly before them, ribbons of silver and blue, and Commander Elias Reed felt a quiet pride. Humanity had made its mark, not with force, but with integrity, courage, and the willingness to grow. And somewhere among the stars, that strength would shine far brighter than any weapon or technology could.